You're listening to the Shady Designs Podcast, the show where you'll discover all the inside tips and stories behind Australia's favorite artists, designers, and experts. Now here's your host, Arif Imran.
Hi, you're back on the Lampshade podcast, brought to you by Shady Designs. Today, we've got our partner in crime. That's my partner here at Shady Designs, Lisa Peace. And I'm going to ask a very quick question, a question that gets asked by generally all our customers. And Lisa, I'm going to pose this one to you. When you're in the shop and you've chosen a size, you've chosen a shape, and you know what the lamp is going to go on, how in the world do you choose the fabric? There's so many to go through. What are your tips for people in choosing the right fabric for their project?
Okay. The best way to choose a fabric for your lamp base or pendant is to look at your room, have a look at your textures, your colours and your style, and then we can narrow it down. So you might be a botanical person or abstract. You might have accents of turquoise in an artwork that you want to bring out, and we follow that route and we will investigate the fabrics that we either have on hand or we can go online and check out different ones. And generally, you get a pretty good idea depending on your personality as well. And
when
that's
you
how
say texture, what do you mean by texture?
Texture is, so when you turn on a light, the fabric actually changes. So if you have a linen fabric, for example, the weave of the material can be quite open or quite heavy. And so when the light comes through the fabric, you see a grain within the fabric. It highlights it.
I think that's an important point to make as well, because often people try and colour match exactly. Like they'll have their red painting and then they're trying to search for the perfect red to match that painting, but it doesn't always work out, does it?
Well, no, because the colour changes when the light's on and off. So it can give you two different dimensions or styles. So when the fabric is off, the light is off, you have a beautiful fabric. And then when the light comes on, you've got an amazing fabric because it highlights the colours and the grains come through and it just gives it a whole new feeling to the fabric.
I reckon there's about sort of three types of projects. There's projects where you've got a room that's really bland and you need something to give it a bit of a pick-me-up. And then you've got the kind of room where there's some really dominating pieces in there, like artworks. And so the lampshade fabric really can't be too overwhelming either. And then you've got those houses where there's wallpaper on the wall, there's crazy rugs on the couch, on the floor, and then there's cushions on the couch. How do you kind of figure out how do you strike the balance between, going overboard or not doing enough in terms of pattern?
I think that comes down to your personality as well. If you've got like a kind of a crazy house with amazing patterns everywhere and textures everywhere, I think you've got two options. I think you can calm it down by using a neutral blended fabric, for example, without a pattern that will blend into the room, or you can again go for something mad and crazy because that's what your room is like and that's your style. I think you've got both options and that's the best thing. I mean, the other good thing is when you have a neutral palette and you've got it's like a blank canvas. You can start by adding accents of colour and pattern through your lighting and your soft furnishings. And look, you can go either way.
Fabrics are such a big investment because you can get fabrics that are like $400 a metre and then others are $200 a metre. So what are your top tips on making sure that you choose the right one? What are the ways that you can avoid making a big mistake?
I think first and foremost, the fabric has to be right. I think at the end of the day, this is something that you're going to have for a lifetime. So yes, a budget does come into it, but you also have to be open-minded. And if you fall in love with a fabric that's $200 a metre, but it works in your room so well and you love it, you're only going to regret if you don't get it and you get a cheaper fabric that doesn't doesn't quite cut it. And it's reverse. You might fall in love with a fabric that's $40 a metre in $200 a metre. So it's an investment, and it's something that you're going to have forever unless you change your style, and then you start all over again.
Well, you can compare it to artworks, really. And artworks are tens of thousands of dollars, and that obviously gives off a really great personality in the room. But then the fabrics, we often frame fabrics for people as well, and they hang them on the wall, which is quite funny, to see a cushion fabric or a lampshade fabric being used as an artwork.
Well, a lot of the fabrics that we hold in stock are artworks in their own, aren't they? I mean, the way that they're printed, the patterns, the colours, they're incredible. And that's the most amazing thing today, is that the fabrics are becoming bolder and brighter and more risky, and same as the wallpapers. Oh, the wallpapers are just insane. And to do a wall in a beautiful wallpaper transforms your room completely. It's pretty exciting. So
it's about a couple times a year where you go out and you really hunt the best designs that you think are going to be, that will communicate what Shady Designs is. So you call it your fabric hunt. What are you looking for when your pilgrimage? Yeah. What are you looking for when you're trying to find that collection of fabrics that's going to be part of the Shady Designs family?
I'm looking for the print. It's something different, something unusual, something fun and funky, something that I love, because a lot of things that I love, other people love, which is great. So the pattern, the colours, the fabric composition is really important. So again, when you turn the fabric, when the light on, I need the fabric to pop. I don't want it to sort of fade away when the light comes on. So the fabric composition is really important. And new stuff. I love finding new and upcoming fabric designers, and we have so many amazing fabric designers in Australia that haven't or need more promoting, because they're so talented, and it's amazing to keep it in Australia.
I would say that the best way to figure out if the fabric is good for you is to pop into our showroom and check out the fabrics in person and organise a meeting with us. One of the good things is we can organise fabric samples. And what do you think people should do with the fabric samples when they take them home?
Best thing to do, depends on what you're matching. If you're putting a shade on a base, great to just peg the fabric sample on the shade if it's an existing shade. Wall colours are pretty important when you're choosing fabric. So if you've got like an antique white wall, you want to have a white base cloth with your pattern on it. Or if you're going for, if you've got like an off-white walls or creamy walls, then you want a sort of a creamier background. So that's pretty important to check to make sure that the colour scheme's correct. And then if you're trying to pull a colour off a piece of artwork, just bring have the fabric sample sitting, a metre or two away from the artwork. Don't put it straight up against it, and then just leave it there. Walk past it a few times and just check every time you walk into the room how it feels. Yeah. And then make sure when you get the fabric sample, also put it up against the window where it's a sunny window, so then you can see what the light looks like when it's coming through.
And for those of you who are interstate or not in Sydney, you can certainly jump on our website, check out any of the finished projects on our gallery, or you might want to check out our fabric gallery, and then just pop us an email and say, hey, these are the fabrics that I quite like, and then from there we can direct you towards more fabrics that are quite similar to that collection, because in our showroom there's dozens and dozens of collections, which is
a gazillion.
Which is why it's good to have one of us designers there to help you, because we can steer you in the right direction. And having a photograph of your room also gives us an idea of what fabrics would be best suited to your space, and then we can work together to kind of create some really happy solutions for you. Lisa, any other tips you want to leave us on before we leave this quick podcast?
Enjoy fabrics, be happy, and I've got a customer.
Okay. Thanks again. See you
Bye.
later. So there are top tips for choosing the perfect fabric for your project. I reckon that choosing a fabric is really about a feeling. It's finding a fabric that you really love because it's going to be part of your family space. Finding a fabric that you like the color of and you think is really going to work well. And there's no right answer to choosing a fabric, ultimately. It's just how you think it's going to work. It's all about finding the fabric that best suits your personality. And from there, we can help you with some color samples and some cuttings, and then you can go and take them into your home and see which one's the right one for you. I always like to have sort of 3 to pick from, and then you can decide between your favorites. For more info, jump on our website, shadydesigns.com.au, and we can hope to hear from you soon. Thanks.